Woo, getting hyped with some of that music. Hi there, everybody. Hope you're having a great start to your Wednesday. Meteorologist Josh Hugger here with the latest information on some storms that are moving through portions of northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Now, these storms are well below severe limits right now. In fact, we haven't had any severe thunderstorm warnings so far this morning. And I do think that most of northwest Arkansas will probably avoid severe weather today. Just kind of looking at some of the latest details, looking at how this is evolving right now, I do anticipate a large chunk of our area to avoid severe weather. Now, if you live in the River Valley, especially south of Interstate 40, that could be a bit of a different story. But even then, this is not going to be a high-end severe weather threat. So really, we're just on here to kind of ease your mind right now, give you a little radar tour. We'll look through some of those iDrive Arkansas cameras. We'll look through some of our WeatherBug Network cameras as well. We'll take you through Mega Doppler. We'll take you through some of the latest timing, let you know how much rain we're expecting. And then we'll get into the nitty-gritty on what I think will be a much higher severe weather risk that's coming up on Friday, and then maybe even more severe weather potential as we head towards next Tuesday. So spring is roaring in like a lion right now, folks, and your Weather Authority team is ready to rock and roll. Looks like we got a lot of folks on this live stream right now. Some folks loving the music. I love hearing that right there. In fact, one of my favorite comments I just saw, Brendan said, "Oh no, it's the music." Yeah, you know it's getting real when you're starting to hear some of these other songs going on. It's been a while since we've been able to play that here in the Weather Lab, so I love to see it. What's up, Presumed Hostile? Hope you're having a great start to your Wednesday. Any hail hitting NWA or the River Valley? We'll talk about that in just a minute. We did have some pea-sized hail a few moments ago in far northwestern Arkansas towards Benton County, but that has since passed. Hey there, Luis. Hope you're having a great start to your Wednesday as well. And yeah, let's get right to it, guys. Let's stop talking here with my face and let's actually look at how heating cooling Mega Doppler. So here's a look at what's going on. There's that little isolated thunderstorm that was impacting northeastern Benton County earlier this morning. That provided quite a bit of heavy rainfall. And as I mentioned earlier, some small hail. In fact, if we go back here in time and go to the beginning of this loop, you'll see here that there was a little bit of pea-sized hail that moved through Benton County. It wasn't very large. Looks like it's not going to populate anymore because it's a little bit past that point, but it wasn't very large hail whatsoever. But just a sign that we had some mid-level instability that moved through the area. That storm was highly elevated. And now we've got more of a line of showers and storms that's starting to push through northwest Arkansas. Though, as you can see, it's very cold pool dominant. So what does that mean? It just means that there's a lot of rain-cooled air out ahead of that main line of storms, and that is preventing it from really taking off. We're not going to be talking about any tornado potential, I don't think, with this particular line of storms, especially in northwest Arkansas. If we look at storm relative velocity, you'll see there's nothing along this line that concerns me whatsoever, not even in the River Valley, really. You can see there's the southern part of the line, and that's not looking very impressive either. Now, we're kind of in this situation right now where we have this cold front that's draped over northwest Arkansas that's really keeping the temperatures on the cold side. And once that front completely pushes through our weather coverage area, the severe weather threat will drop off. Now, here's the deal, folks. Even though the severe weather threat is pretty low, maybe even non-existent in some spots over northwest Arkansas, the heavy rain threat is not. And I do think we will see copious amounts of rain today, round after round of shower and storm development. You can already see some additional scattered showers developing out in central Oklahoma. If we look at the lightning situation right now, you're definitely hearing some rumbles of thunder in Benton County, and these storms will be loud, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be all that strong or severe in northwest Arkansas, at least. Now, in the River Valley, that could be a different story. It is something that we've got to watch very closely, especially as we move towards the early to mid-afternoon hours. But as of right now, and I really think for the rest of the morning, we are going to avoid significant severe weather potential, which is great. That's absolutely fantastic, and we hope that trend continues as we go throughout the afternoon hours in the River Valley too. Let's go to Max 1 here. Let's take a look at live Doppler radar. Let's kind of look at how these storms are evolving. There was a severe thunderstorm warning earlier this morning near the Muskogee area. That was the only severe thunderstorm warning that I saw with this line of storms. Otherwise, again, that cold pool dominant kind of winning out right now. And I want to, before we go back to radar here, kind of show you the temperature situation as well. This really tells the story when it comes to this setup. And there it is. 48 degrees from Exnay to Silent Springs, 50 degrees in Bentonville, and 54 in Rogers. Guys, that's cold. I mean, that's cold to me. I mean, 48 degrees and raining, that is a very chilly rain, and that doesn't usually produce your severe weather potential. So that's absolutely fantastic right now. Thank you so much, Denton. I just saw your comment there. So we'll use weather producer and we'll transition to that in just a few moments here. But yeah, 48 degrees, that's not going to get it done when it comes to severe weather potential whatsoever. So again, guys, for far northwestern Arkansas, especially Benton County and western Washington County, not really expecting a whole lot of severe weather potential. It's 68 in Fayetteville right now, so there's obviously some deeper moisture in place for portions of northwest Arkansas. But again, I just don't really buy this as being a significant severe weather setup, at least for NWA. Now, in the River Valley, that could be different. Look at the temperatures right now, 73 degrees in Fort Smith, 72 in Boonville, and 72 in Poto. So much warmer in the River Valley. But obviously that front is moving through very quickly right now, so that could lead to a lower end chance for severe weather. All right, Denton, I am on a weather producer right now. I believe I'm on the on that scene setup right now. So if you can hear this right now, just letting you know that. But again, guys, for northwest Arkansas, the severe weather threat is dying down because of the lack of instability that's in place. If we go to the dew point situation, notice how dew points behind that front are much lower as well, in the middle to upper 40s, 52 in Bentonville, 62 in Fayetteville, 64 in Fort Smith. So obviously some deeper moisture in place right now along and south of Interstate 40. But for far northwestern Arkansas, just not really the case at this time. So again, guys, this is not going to be a significant severe event, I don't think, for the entire area, but it's still something that we're going to be keeping an eye on and not letting our guard down on. All right, let's go back to the radar. All right, and let's look at what's going on here. So there's those thunderstorms moving along Highway 412, Interstate 49. You can see some heavy rainfall about to occur in the Bentonville area. It's going to be getting loud in Bentonville as well. Springdale, Fayetteville, a very similar story. Bella Vista. I mean, these areas right here, folks, need the rain the most. The farther north and west you go, the more rain that you need, and those locations are getting it right now. And there's plenty more to come as we go throughout the rest of the morning hours. Now, a little bit farther south into the River Valley, it's taking a little while for these storms to arrive, which makes sense because that front right now is not lined up with the River Valley. So if I were to draw a front here, I'm just going to draw it from northwest Arkansas. It's pretty much draped right here, kind of like this. And notice how a lot of those storms are behind the front too. So if you've got storms that are behind the front, these typically indicate that you're going to get a lot of cold pool dominant storms, first of all, and you mainly get a hail risk. Your damaging wind threat really drops off actually once those storms get caught up behind this line. Now, at ahead of the line, if some storms can develop, that will be different. Those could cause some problems. But as we go along in time here, that front's going to be racing off to the east very quickly, and that could probably lead to a lower end severe threat and also a faster storm system, which means we get rid of that severe weather potential a little bit quicker today. So that's the good news on that front. We take a wider view here. You can see how things have evolved throughout the morning hours. We had some drizzle, cloud coverage hanging around all morning long in NWA. That's probably also limiting the severe weather threat. Notice that outflow boundary as well, just racing off to the south and east there, choking off these storms, making them cold pool dominant. So hopefully that continues as we move throughout the rest of the day. What would probably be the ideal scenario is that we get a lot of rainfall. We get breaks in the rainfall too to limit the flash flooding risk. And then we just deal with plain old regular rain and storms. And I mean, that's all you can really ask for when it comes to a setup like this. And if we take a look at water vapor too, you can see that explosive thunderstorm development as well. I want to show that. That dry punch right there kicking in through central Oklahoma. Along that dry punch, you typically get a lot of thunderstorm development. That's kind of classic for severe weather setups, provided that the cold front is backed up a little bit more. But in our case, the front is racing out to the east, so not really a big deal. And as you can see right now, and Denton just pulled this up here, he's doing a great job behind the scenes producing. You can see that we've pulled up our little meter, right? So we're looking at the severe weather score and our tornado score. This is just basically telling you how likely we are to see severe weather over the next few moments. If we get to that warning threshold, that's when we're starting to talk about severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings. Denton just adjusted that right now. So the severe storm score, right around a 20. I think that's perfect. It's on the very low end right now. They're strong storms. They're producing lightning. They're producing rain. They might produce some small hail and gusty winds, but they're not even close to severe right now. And notice how the tornado score is also sitting at a 0. Our tornado threat is pretty much non-existent at this time, especially in northwestern Arkansas. So some great news on that front. Now, what you probably want to see is the latest severe weather risk, so we can show that. Now, here's the deal about the day one convective outlook. I don't know if I necessarily agree with everything that it's showing here. Let me tell you why. It still has a level 2 out of 5 slight risk in place for a large part of northwest Arkansas. In my opinion, I think we should be talking more about a marginal in NWA with a slight risk in the River Valley. A very, very slim slight risk in the River Valley. Just looking at the latest details, looking at how these storms are going to evolve, how much cloud cover we're going to see throughout the day. Northwest Arkansas severe threat is very limited. And Dan was talking about that yesterday too. We'll show you the tornado threat in just a minute, and it's still very low. Don't get me wrong. But I don't even know if there should be a tornado threat in Northwest Arkansas, just looking at what is going on out the window. Because again, when your front is moving so quickly, right? Let's say the front's moving through like this. The current position's right here. So with the front being in that spot, we should probably have a marginal risk now for hail in far northwestern Arkansas. And as that front continues to shift off to the east, you start talking about less severe weather potential. So that's what we're looking at right now. Again, hail and damaging winds remain the main concern. There's the damaging wind threat. It's a little bit higher with eastward extent, which makes sense with that cold front racing off to the east. The hail risk is a little bit wider too. So you're talking about a hail-driven slight risk in far northwestern Arkansas, but with the front to the east, the hail can't be that large. And then there's that tornado threat. Now, if you weren't on the live stream yesterday, I want to kind of talk about just real quick what we're dealing with here when it comes to the tornado potential here. So what you're seeing is a probabilistic risk for tornadoes. This is going to be the new way in which we kind of forecast tornadoes and show you the severe weather threat. So what you're looking at here is a very low threat for tornadoes. It's not zero, but a 2% risk for tornadoes. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's say I put a dot on the map here. So like I'm just going to put a little circle right here. Let's say from this dot, right, we put a person there, and within 25 miles of this person in a little circle, a 25-mile circle, you have a 2% chance of seeing a tornado. Now, climatology does play a big role in this as well. So it's very telling when you've got a 2% risk for tornadoes in early spring, because that means the risk is not very high at all. Now, if it was a 2% risk in the wintertime, well, that's 2% above climatology. That's a pretty big deal because during the wintertime, typically it's a little bit colder. Climatology doesn't favor as much significant severe weather potential. So it's a little bit different on that front. But regardless, it's not a very high risk. It's also not zero. So that's why we're watching it very closely. But to kind of put your mind at ease, I think the risk in northwest Arkansas is pretty much done. So far northwestern Arkansas, like Benton County, western Washington County, where that front's already pushed to the area, the risk is pretty much over. Now, in the River Valley, that could be a different story. We'll still have to watch things very closely in the River Valley, and we're going to keep a close eye on it all day long for you and keep you safe. If we do have significant severe weather, all of us are going to be here ready to rock and roll. But I think the tornado potential is very limited with this storm system. So that's the good news on that front. Let's get to some of the high-resolution models as well. Let's look at the latest timing now. The HRRR, let's see how good of a job it's doing. I want to look at the HRRR compared to Megadoppler. So this is what's going on out the window right now. So looking pretty rainy. This is what Megadoppler show. This is what the HRRR is showing. So I'm going to go back to Megadoppler one more time, and then back to the HRRR. It's doing not great. Not great, in my opinion, because the rain's a little bit heavier than when it's showing along the I-49 corridor. But as you can see, those storms are moving through northwest Arkansas throughout the rest of the morning hours. Additional showers and storms will be developing. We've got a lot of energy to work with here, folks, so we're not done yet, even though it's getting loud right now and it might wind down for a brief period of time. We are expecting additional showers and storms. Now, in the River Valley, what's interesting is that it's showing some of these storms making their way through the River Valley too. That would be fantastic because that would really limit the severe the risk in the River Valley as well, and then we can all go home and sing Kumbaya and have a great time and just enjoy the rain. But again, this model is not perfect, so we'll have to watch those trends very closely. Now, notice the HRRR does have a significant uptick in terms of the storms south of the Bobby Harper Tunnel at 3 p.m. So if I'm looking for any time frame where severe weather potential could be a little bit higher, it's right around 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the River Valley. Then as we go throughout the rest of the evening, we start to transition back to that heavy rain threat once again. I know a lot of folks might be heading to Bud Walton Arena, might be heading to that Razorback game, right? I think you might need to take it nice and easy because it's going to be pretty soggy out there on the interstates and highways. We could see some isolated to scattered flash flooding as well. So that is something to watch very closely. If you're out and about attending that Razorback game, you got to make sure you give yourself plenty of extra time to get to the game and plenty of extra time to get back home. because it's going to be very soggy out there, not only at 6 p.m., but also past that point. This is at 9 p.m. Still, more scattered showers and storms pushed through the area. And I know this model is depicting those storms as being very strong. Rest assured, the severe the risk by this point should be dying down area-wide. This is more of a heavy rain threat at this point, and this is where we have to watch that flooding potential. Now, at midnight, I think we're starting to see less heavy rain in northwest Arkansas. River Valley still dealing with it with that plume of moisture. I think that will likely continue through the morning commute tomorrow. The HRRR, at least the extended one, is kind of downtrended the storm potential for tomorrow. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition. I don't know if I necessarily buy that right now, but additional isolated and scattered storms will be possible tomorrow afternoon, especially along and south of Interstate 40, before all that energy moves out of the area by the time we get to late Thursday night into early Friday morning. So latest HRRR has about 1 to 2 inches of rain in most spots. I think that's a good bet with this first round of showers and storms. That's very beneficial rainfall. There will be some locally higher amounts here or there. I think the River Valley will be a little bit more favored for that, especially during the evening hours. But if we do see training thunderstorms, that could cause that localized flooding threat to really ramp up. So we'll watch that very closely on radar. That's just something that you have to watch throughout the day rather than forecast, because it's very hard to pinpoint where exactly the heaviest rain is going to set up. So that's what we're cooking with right there when it comes to the forecast for today. Again, we'll keep watching it, especially in the River Valley for any severe weather uptick. But for northwest Arkansas, because of the temperatures, because of where the cold front is currently positioned, I think the overall severe weather potential is very, very low at this point. There you go. This is proof in the pudding. In fact, is it about to get into the upper 30s in Grove, Oklahoma? I think we're about to start talking about upper 30s in just a minute. No, never mind. Okay, that was just, I don't know why it's showing that right there, because the temperature gradient's not working right now. And that's probably because the cold front is moving through so quickly right now in northwest Arkansas. So maybe the sensors are struggling to keep up. But this is the official temperature graph as of 8:53 a.m. So as of 8:53, it's 46 degrees in Siloam Springs, 47 at XNA, lower 50s from Bentonville to Rogers. It's about to be in the 50s in Springdale. Fayetteville still sitting at 68, but the front is already moving through right now. So not expecting a big deal there. But again, River Valley temperatures are much warmer right now, so we'll have to watch that very closely. So that's what we're working with today. Hopefully that answered your questions when it comes to today. I'm going to look through the comment section real quick to make sure nobody has any concerns when it comes to today, because I also want to talk about what's coming up for later on this week, because later this week, folks, on Friday, it does look like significant severe weather is going to be a possibility. So let's talk about that in just a minute. But first, I'm going to go through some comments. Is it supposed to get bad in the Rudy, Van Buren area tonight? So, Danita, in your area, I think the main time frame for severe weather potential is actually going to be probably right around 3 to 5 p.m., a very narrow window there. But after that point tonight, I think the severe weather threat is going to be low. You're going to be looking at more just loud thunderstorms that produce very heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, maybe some small hail and gusty winds, but it's not going to necessarily get bad in terms of high-end severe weather potential. So hopefully that answered your question there. Not any lightning and thunder with the second round in XNA. My dog is really glad. Poor guy. Becky, I got a dog too, and I've had 2 dogs over my lifetime. Maxine, she was a Golden Lab German Shepherd mix. She was terrified of storms, Becky. And then Harper, who is my pup now, she is a collie, and she loves storms. In fact, I've taken her on many storm chases, and she's like my little barometer. She knows when things are starting to get a little bit rough outside, but she's stoic. She just sits there and she's like, oh man, I'm ready to rock and roll. So praying for your pupper. I know how it is sometimes with the doggos. Brent was also saying the same thing about his dog. Pray for the doggos during this time, especially the ones that are a little bit scared of those storms. Thankfully for the dogs, shouldn't be too bad when it comes to severe weather potential there. Of course, Danita, got you covered there. Got you covered. What's going on March 10th? We'll talk about that as well, Daniel, because man, oh man, we've got a lot going on here. Savannah just got here. What time is the bad weather going to start and end? Savannah, all you need to know is that if you live in northwest Arkansas, there's going to be several storms throughout the day. Later this afternoon, additional development is certainly possible. I think the severe weather threat for northwest Arkansas is just about wrapping up, actually. River Valley, if you live in the River Valley, right around 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, it could get a little bit interesting. We'll have to watch the radar very closely then. But this is not a high-end severe weather threat. It never was a high-end severe weather threat. I want to make that clear as well. This is more of what I would call a garden variety kind of average severe weather setup for northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Okay, Denton, thank you so much for letting me know about that. I do want to look at iDriver because he's pulling up some cameras here. Okay, am I back? All right, we're back. We're back. Okay, I think there's a problem with that scene, Denton. So I think there's a problem with the iDriver scene right now, which is causing the sound to go out. So we won't use that scene for right now. Okay, yeah. So we switched back to another scene. I think we're trying some new stuff behind the scenes right now, guys. We're trying to get some like new data sets and new like scenes so you can see the iDrive Arkansas cameras and everything. So just bear with us on that front. You know what, Denton? I can still show this though. So I'm going to go back to Max 1. And we're going to go and keep that camera up, Denton, on iDriver, because what I can do is I can just pull up this here and boom, got it fixed. So now you should still hear my sound. You should be able to see the traffic alert. If you can't hear me, let me know. The sound should be back up and running again, though. So Denton's working on some stuff behind the scenes right now, and hopefully we'll have that. Hopefully we'll have that fixed pretty soon. But here's a look at the southbound lane of Interstate 49. I was just talking about this. I know this section of the interstate very well. I take it every single day to get to work. I take it when I get back home as well. And even on a sunny day, it can be a challenge to drive here. So as you can see, unfortunately, somebody probably hydroplaned on the side of the road there. Looks like it's a single vehicle accident, thankfully. Hopefully everybody's okay. But if you're traveling southbound near the Bella Vista area, just make sure you're taking it nice and easy this morning as there is a bit of a traffic alert there. So we'll be dealing with that pretty much all day, unfortunately. And looks like there's a big storm going on in Kentucky right now. I just saw there's a tornado warning in effect for Kentucky, not for Arkansas, but in Kentucky. So it looks like some significant severe weather is going on just off to the east of the area at this time. It's kind of interesting. I didn't expect it to get that bad in those locations this quickly, but tells you a lot of wind shear out ahead of that cold front. We might be dodging a bullet with this system, especially in far northwestern Arkansas. All right, we're going to go back to our scenes here again because we need to talk about what's going on for later this week, because the severe weather potential later this week, folks, means business. Now, first of all, we're going to show you a look at water vapor here. So we're going to go back to Max 1, and we're going to make sure that my camera's off the screen there. So there's the storm system that's ramping up over the Pacific Northwest, and it is a big one. You can already see it digging in right now just off the west coast of the United States. Right now, a lot of the jet stream energy, at least the main jet stream energy, is way off to the north of our area right now. But eventually, that is going to be digging to the south as we go throughout the latter half of this week. So notice on Friday, there it is right there. That upper level support really starts to kick in. Man, that is a very powerful ski jump right there with that storm system Friday afternoon into the evening hours. Now, looking at this setup here, it's interesting because the timing is going to mean everything. If we've got a positively tilted trough, right, that typically favors a slower system. And you may have heard Dan and I talking about that over the last several days. A slower system would likely favor more of a linear setup, meaning that we have another QLCS type of event here in Northwest Arkansas in the River Valley. A significant one, no doubt about it, but a QLCS event rather than a supercellular event, which is going to be very likely over central Oklahoma and southern Kansas. So you'll probably hear a lot of storm chasers talking about Friday. That's because out in Oklahoma and Kansas, this is a prime severe weather setup. If you can get a storm to develop along that dry line, it will likely produce tornadoes. So that's something that we're going to be watching out west. Now, here for Northwest Arkansas, if this system slows down, you're probably looking at less of a severe weather threat. If it speeds up some more, right, if we get that negatively tilted trough, then you're talking about more of those supercells that I was just mentioning out in Oklahoma. That could be us here over portions of NWA. We're going to be cutting it close. I think we're going to see severe weather regardless, but the type of severe weather setup is going to be a factor there. So Yeah, a lot of things going on when it comes to Friday that we'll have to watch very closely. Of course, that system's going to move out by the time we get to Saturday afternoon. Sunday, Monday, I'm not ruling out the chance for some rain showers, but Tuesday is the day that we've got to watch again. So somebody was mentioning Tuesday, March the 10th, and man, oh man, this is an even stronger ski jump jet stream. And this actually is centered over Northwest Arkansas Tuesday afternoon to the evening hour. So if I go back here to Friday afternoon into the evening at 6 p.m., it actually sets up perfectly. Notice how the main jet stream energy is just west of the area, at least initially. Then it eventually moves through, but it's kind of in a weaker state. Tuesday, if this holds, Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley will be at the center of it all. And so next Tuesday, folks, my alarm bells are going off for Friday and for Tuesday. These are days that you need to stay weather aware, that you need to be keeping a close eye on like we are here in the Weather Lab, because both of those days mean business. And we're not going to have a lack of instability or scoured out moisture with both of those setups. The timing is really what has to be fine-tuned right now. The timing is everything. When your upper level support lags a little bit, that can sometimes limit your severe weather risk. But if it doesn't lag, we're going to be talking about significant severe weather potential. So here's the day 3 convective outlook. This is valid on Friday, March the 6th. Very big enhanced risk for severe weather. It stretches all the way from northern Texas into central and eastern Oklahoma, eastern Kansas, up towards northern Missouri. This enhanced risk is a big deal this far out, folks, and it will likely be expanded as more high-resolution data comes in. Now, for our area, we do have a level 3 to 5 enhanced risk that's clipping portions of Delaware, Adair, and Sequoia County, as well as western Benton and western McDonald County. So those counties right now are clipped by that level 3 to 5 enhanced risk. The entire weather coverage area has at least a level 2 to 5 slight risk in place. So all modes of severe weather possible Friday afternoon into the evening hours. The timing of the system will determine the eastward extent of the most significant severe weather. That's the thing. I'm talking about the most significant severe weather threat here, because I think we see severe weather in some form or fashion regardless. If this system trends faster, significant severe weather impacts will be more likely with the setup. Hopefully that makes sense, right? Friday, you need to stay weather aware no matter what. But are we going to see that high-end, widespread, significant severe weather? That's a little bit more uncertain right now, and that's reflected in the probabilistic risk. Now, here it is, folks. We were talking about the new risk, right? The new SIG 1, SIG 2, SIG 3, right? The different conditional intensity indexes, right? Well, here we go. You're starting to see that show up on the probabilistic risk. So as you can see, there's already a 30% risk outline there, 30% probability for general severe weather, right? We don't talk about specific threats this far out, but in general, there's a 30% risk for severe weather there in the red shaded colors. And then for most of our weather coverage area, we've got that 15% risk. Now, what's interesting is that we've also got this SIG 1 outline here, right? So we're at the level 1 out of 2 significant severe weather potential. So you only have 2 values this far out, more than 3 days out or 3 more days out. And then as we get towards day 1 and day 2, there's 3 different levels that you can look at. So right now we've got a level 1 out of 2 significant severe weather risk outlined for northeast Oklahoma, far northwestern Arkansas, and southwest Missouri. Hopefully that all made sense. I know it's a lot of new information that we're getting into here. And as we go throughout the rest of the severe weather season, I'm sure you're going to get used to how we're forecasting things now. But I think this is absolutely on the money from the Storm Prediction Center here. I think they did a great job with this outlook. I think it gives them some room to expand it a little bit farther east, depending on what exactly goes down. But I'm telling you, folks, this is a setup that we have to watch very closely. Now, I was just talking about that dry line. I will be out in Oklahoma chasing on Friday. And let me tell you why. You're going to have that dry line that sets up out there near Oklahoma City. You get a storm that pops up along that dry line, and, man, it can take off very quickly. So this is where I think it's going to be ground zero for significant severe weather. And then as these storms progress off to the east, they might become linear. So that favors more of a QLCS along the I-49 corridor. But again, if this shifts farther east, that will be something that we have to watch very, very closely. So a lot of different things going on for Friday. Now, what about what the models are showing? Well, let's go ahead and look at the European model here. So this is, in my opinion, the better of the high-resolution models. This is starting Friday morning at 11 a.m. Notice how things are pretty quiet. I know this model is showing maybe some scattered showers in the River Valley. We'll see if that comes to fruition. There's a lot of energy that we're having to deal with here. So it is something to watch very closely. But notice Friday afternoon to the evening hours, things start taking off in central and eastern Oklahoma, moving through northwest Arkansas during the overnight hours, Friday into Saturday. That's another concern I have. Once again, maybe another overnight QLCS type events. We don't like seeing that here at NWA, but we're very accustomed to it, unfortunately. And then as we go throughout Saturday morning, some additional scattered showers are possible. I think by Saturday morning, the severe weather risk is done. And then Saturday afternoon to the evening, not looking too bad. In fact, Razorback baseball going on Saturday, Sunday, even Monday as well. There might be some small chances for isolated to scattered showers, especially in the higher trained areas of northwest Arkansas Monday. But overall, I think we get a lull in the activity for both Sunday and Monday. However, Tuesday, as I mentioned earlier, could be a big deal. This is Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. And man, look at that. Strong, stout, southerly flow at 850 millibars. My goodness, that is a lot of southerly flow right there. And that is a sign that you've got very deep Gulf moisture that's surging to the north, a lot of instability, a lot of wind shear. Next Tuesday, folks, means business. And that is something that we are keeping a close eye on, especially when the Storm Prediction Center already outlines the risk 7 days out. This is a day 7 convective outlook, folks. And as you can see, the entire weather coverage area is being outlined for some severe weather potential. Now, obviously, there's a couple of factors that we have to look at. First, we have to look at how many storms will occur on Tuesday. Is there going to be so much energy that we get storms everywhere? Does that limit the severe weather threat? That's something we're watching very closely there. Timing is everything. As I mentioned earlier, does the upper level support arrive on time? That will determine the extent of the most significant severe weather threats, which of course will also be fine-tuned over the coming days. But this looks like all modes of severe weather will be possible, folks. So stay weather aware, keep a close eye on this. If I zoom out here and look at the entirety of the 7 day of this day 7 convective outlook, I mean, that is a large outlook that's being outlined there. It stretches all the way from the hill country in Texas into Oklahoma, southeast Kansas, western and central Missouri, and then much of Arkansas. And northwest Arkansas and the River Valley is right smack dab in the middle of that risk over 7 days out. So, guys, keep an eye on Friday, keep an eye on Tuesday. And, of course, we're going to be watching this very closely and keeping you safe and keeping you posted. But, man, oh, man, as I said at the top of this live stream, severe weather season is roaring in like a lion right now. Okay, Denton, thank you so much for letting me know. Looks like there's a statewide tornado drill going on for the state of Arkansas. So no severe weather going on in NWA right now. If you just joined in, if we go back to Mega Doppler here, you can see that we've just got strong storms, heavy rain moving through NWA, quite a bit of lightning going on with these storms. Some small hail certainly possible, gusty winds. As Jenny just mentioned, the gust front just came through and dropped the temperature big time. We'll look at a temperature update in just a minute, but just make sure you're taking it nice and easy on the roadways, folks. There's already been some issues on the roads this morning. If we go back here to Weather 1, you can see that there's an accident in the southbound lane of I-49 in the Bella Vista area. This is already a problem spot when it's sunny and clearly causing problems right now too. Just go about 15 miles per hour, maybe even more below the speed limit, so you can give yourself a safe situation as you're heading off to work or wherever you're going this morning in NWA. Let's see here. Will you live stream your chase? Good question, Brandon. I don't think I'm going to be live streaming my chase all the time, but Dan might be on this live stream here, and if he's on the live stream, I'll probably get something going so you guys can see what's going on. But I don't anticipate having my setup ready to go on Friday, unfortunately, like my full on setup. But I'll have my phone ready to go. We'll probably live stream what's going on out in Oklahoma first. That way you can see some of those bigger storms that will be occurring there. And then I'll be chasing those storms, obviously, as they come back into northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. And hopefully by that point, they'll be on the weakening trend. Caleb says, I'm nervous about April and May if we're getting this rough. Now, here's the deal, Caleb. I remember in 2023, we started off with a bang here in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Like we had severe weather that was happening all the time back in 2023 around this time. And then we got to April and May. It was pretty quiet, right? It was pretty quiet in many spots during April and May in 2023. We had a couple of severe weather episodes and stuff like that, but it wasn't as significant as what we saw in March, especially over the Central Plains. So there's not always a correlation between a busy March and a busy April and May. Sometimes you can be very quiet in both of those months. Sometimes you can be more active in June compared to April and May. So we're just getting started with severe weather season, but it's that time of year again, folks, where we need to stay weather aware. Obviously, 2024, everybody knows it. Memorial Day weekend, May 26th. That's when things started taking off. And that made 2024 started off pretty quiet. It felt like we were kind of avoiding those more significant severe weather setups back in 2024 during, March and April, kind of dodging bullets. And then we got to late May, and it just took one supercell to remember in order for things to really take off. So we're gonna be all hands on deck, and we're gonna be keeping you safe all spring long here. And we've got a great setup. Denton, Dan, Davion, Aleshley, everybody here on the Weather Authority team has done some outstanding work in terms of getting prepared for severe weather season, and we'll be watching everything very closely. So I just saw a comment about today's tornado threat. I'll show you the SPC outlook, but I really don't agree with it right now for Northwest Arkansas. I think Northwest Arkansas severe weather threat is pretty much done. But River Valley, there's still that very low threat for tornadoes. It's a 2% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a point. It's still there along and south of Interstate 40. So we'll be watching that very closely later on this afternoon into the early evening hours. But again, Northwest Arkansas, I just don't buy it right now. I just don't buy a significant severe weather event at all today, really anywhere across our weather coverage area. Let's see here. I'm driving back to Northwest Arkansas tomorrow from Little Rock. What time would be best for that drive? Will I be in the clear? I think it'll be fine tomorrow, Alexis. Tomorrow morning, there could be some thunderstorms on your way back, especially along Interstate 40. Now, in far northwestern Arkansas, things should be winding down throughout the morning hours on Thursday. I really think Thursday afternoon will be pretty quiet in many spots. And I'll show you that here on Future Track. If we go along in time here, there's those thunderstorms moving through throughout the daytime hours today. Again, this afternoon, right around 2 to 5 p.m., could be dealing with some severe weather along and south of the Bobby Harper Tunnel. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition, though. The more I look at radar right now, the less likely I think that will be. But we'll see what happens. We're not going to let our guard down. More heavy rain possible overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. Alexis, if you're still watching right now, this is your time frame that you need to be keeping an eye on here. Notice 6 a.m. Thursday morning, there's still some storms going on in central Arkansas. There's still some storms maybe in the River Valley too. I wouldn't be surprised if an isolated storm popped up in NWA as well. So just make sure you're taking it nice and easy. But I think by Thursday afternoon, you should be completely in the clear. So if you're looking for a time, Alexis, where you'll be completely in the clear, it's going to be in the afternoon hours tomorrow, like around 2, 3 o'clock. But even if you travel in the morning, we're not going to be dealing with any significant severe weather potential. So I think you'll be in good shape there. So hopefully that answered your question on that front. Oh, yeah, Trace, I want to watch one supercell to remember, but my PTSD from that supercell is telling me no. And Trace, that's a very real thing. I know, and that's why I'm on right now. These storms right now, you look at the severe weather threat on our little scale on the side there, it's very low. I mean, it's almost zero right now area-wide. But the reason why I'm on is to kind of put your mind at ease, first of all, about what's going on right now and keep you informed about what's coming up later this week and for the early part of next week. That's why we do what we do, folks. And that's why I love doing this job, because I want to keep you folks safe and I want to keep you informed. That's my passion. And I love this community so much. And that's why we're here for you. We're going to stay here on these storms throughout the next several days, keeping you safe, keeping you informed, and putting your mind at ease. So Decatur looks green, and my power keeps going on and off. So Serena, thank you for that report. There is some gusty winds associated with these storms right now, no doubt about it. So even though we're not dealing with severe weather, there are some gusty winds going on along the storm. So just make sure you're aware of that. If we go back to Mega Doppler here, you can see what's going on at this time. I'm going to take my camera off here, so that way I can take it through a bit of a radar tour. Come on, turn off camera. Camera just wants to stay on right now. I don't know why. Come on, go away. Thank you. I was pressing that like a million times and the camera wasn't going away. Jacob, I think I just wanted to see you. Yeah. Give the people what they want, right? A view of Jacob. Let's go. I'd take that all day long too. So here's a look at Mega Doppler, taking you through a bit of a tour here. So some stronger storms moving through Berry County right now. So maybe a little bit of hail associated with that. Let's see if there's any hail going on there. Not seeing anything in the maximum expected hail size. So that's good. But definitely some very heavy rain going on southwest of Cassville at this time. This is also the Tulsa radar, so it is a little far away. If we go a little bit closer to Benton County, it's loud. There's lightning going on in Benton County, no doubt about it. You can see that here. Some lightning starting to move into western Washington County too. But these are just normal storms, folks. These are just garden variety, normal, loud storms bringing heavy rain to the area. Nothing out of the ordinary whatsoever. A little bit farther south into the river valley, you're starting to see some scattered showers developing in South South. But I'm telling you, that outflow boundary is producing a lot of scattered showers right now in the river valley. You can see that development going on right now to the west of Fort Smith. So if that continues to occur, that can limit the severe weather threat in the river valley too. And if we look at storm relative velocity here, there's just nothing that's impressive. There's the gust front moving through Benton County right now. So gusty winds for sure in the Bentonville area right now, and a little bit farther south towards western Washington County. But look at this. This is just junk right here. I'll even switch the radar side. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. We'll look at the Fort Smith radar, but I don't think it's going to be any more impressive along and south of Interstate 40. So just not an impressive storm system right now when it comes to severe weather potential, but we know how quickly things can change, so we're not going to let our guard down. So here's a look at the Fort Smith radar, and yep, I mean, that's just gusty winds. That's nothing out of the ordinary, nothing significant whatsoever to worry about there. And again, here's the Fort Smith radar. You can see some of those scattered showers starting to push into the Fort Smith area. I'm going to go back here to weather one because I want to look at the temperature map here. So let's go to the temps in northwest Arkansas. I'll also look at some WeatherBug Network cameras in just a minute. And man, that tells you the story. That tells you the story right there. 46 in Bentonville, 48 at XNA, 46 to Elm Springs, 46 in Rogers, down to 50 in Fayetteville. It's pretty much done and done in far northwestern Arkansas. In my opinion, the severe weather threat is very, very low at this point for far northwestern Arkansas. Now let's go down to the river valley. Let's see if things are a little bit different there. So in Fort Smith, still sitting at 74, 75 in Boonville, 72 in Poto. So the river valley, things could be a little more interesting there. Brendan, I was on the Weather Authority app this morning. I put on the storm tracks and it said a little shower. It was a tornado debris storm. Now, Brendan, one thing I will say is that a lot of times with radar, you can get some false kind of scans and stuff like that, meaning that the radar can misinterpret an area that's just plain old rain or plain old gusty winds as an area of rotation. And then it'll give you that TVS signal, right? It'll give you that TVS kind of symbol on there. That's not a true TVS, right? That's not a true tornado vortex signature. So it probably showed that because it was giving you a false TVS, Brendan. But at the end of the day, there wasn't anything this morning that was a cause for concern when it came to tornado potential whatsoever in northwest Arkansas. And that continues right now over a large part of the area as evidenced by our tornado scale, right? So you can see on the right-hand corner of your screen there, the severe weather scale, and then you can the severe storm score, and then the tornado score. The severe storm score is extremely low. The tornado score is non-existent. So we're not dealing with any tornadic storms right now across northwest Arkansas. You're asking how the dew point's looking. So let's look at the dew point situation. That's a great point. So the dew points are dropping off significantly. Look at Fayetteville and Bentonville down into the upper 40s to lower 50s. That's not going to get it done for severe weather potential. Now in the river valley, those dew points right now are still in the lower 60s. So you can see that here. Circle that right there. Lower middle 60s in the river valley still. So that is something that we'll watch very closely there. So severe weather is still possible in the river valley, folks. And that's something that we'll still keep a close eye on. We're not going to let our guard down. But for northwest Arkansas, it's pretty much over with when it comes to severe weather potential. Let's see here. What have we not looked at yet? What are some things that we could still look at and dive into this morning? Let's look at some cameras. Let's go on a little camera tour here. Let's look at that Bentonville Square WeatherBug Network camera first. You can see that we've got rain. It's raining in Bentonville. There's some occasional flashes of lightning, some rumbles of thunder. I got to say, the Bentonville Square is just hopping right now. There are a lot of folks out and about right now. So make sure you got that umbrella packed because you will certainly need it at this time. Let's look at some more WeatherBug Network cameras. Let's look at Decatur. I was getting some reports from Decatur. Looks like maybe a little bit of clearing off to the west right now, but there's also a lot of shower activity, just a lot of scattered showers, just hanging around in Decatur. And even if we see a lull in the activity in Northwest Arkansas, at least, the cold front is east of NWA now. So those storms can't produce anything other than hail and gusty winds. The tornado potential is going to be non-existent. So, Camden, you're talking about the tornado threat for NWA. Friday, it just depends on the timing right now. Right now, I would lean more towards like a QLCS type of setup, which we know can produce some tornado potential here. Tuesday is really far out, but it has the type of setup for higher end tornado potential. So both Friday and Tuesday will have tornado potential in Northwest Arkansas. The question is, how high will that actually be? It's all dependent on a number of different factors that we won't really be able to fine tune until we get closer to the event, which really Thursday is when we're going to start having a much better idea on things. So it's a good question, but I do think the tornado potential is definitely highest on Friday and next Tuesday, certainly compared to today. Here's our Graduate Hotel camera. It's starting to get a little rainy in Fayetteville. Let's see here. Let's go to Lincoln. I want to see Lincoln's. Here's Lincoln's WeatherBug Network camera. So again, pretty heavy rainfall going on in western Washington County and western Benton County right now, and some lightning. And these storms will be loud. They could produce some occasional hailstones, but not anything that's significant right now. Kisser FM tower camera, very gloomy scene. A lot of cloud coverage in the River Valley right now. Huntsville Middle School camera, that's a little gray. And that makes sense because there hasn't been any rain yet in Huntsville. That's going to be changing very soon. That's a look at the storms off to the west without any shower and storm development. And those bases do not look very impressive right now. Certainly don't look very impressive for severe weather potential. Let's look at our Springdale Harbor camera. Rainy. Arkansas Children's Northwest. Rainy. Salem Springs. Rainy. You kind of get the idea, folks. It's soggy. Now, Rogers, heavy rain's moving through right now. So, again, we were just talking about Interstate 49 and the travel situation. There's still that accident that's going on right now. I'm going to pull that up here on iDrive Arkansas. I'm going to test this real quick. My audio may go out for just a minute, but I want to see if our iDriver pulls up with audio. So I'm going to test it just really quick, and then I'm going to go back if the audio's not working. So here we go. Nope. Audio's not working there still, so we'll go back to Max 1. We'll get that fixed behind the scenes and everything and have that working just in time. But here's Interstate 49. That's looking southbound near Bella Vista. This might have been a pretty significant accident, unfortunately. It is on the middle of the interstate, but somebody hydroplaned, and obviously that's causing problems. So if you're traveling southbound near the Bella Vista area, make sure you're taking it nice and easy right now because there is that accident that's ongoing at this time. Okay, Denton, that makes sense. So after we're done with this live stream, Denton will update that and we'll get that fixed. Yeah, so I appreciate you letting me know about that, Dina. So what's going on right now is we have a specific scene that gives us access to iDrive Arkansas, if that makes sense. But that scene is not working right now. So what I'm doing is I'm using Max 1 and I'm showing the iDrive Arkansas source that we have on Weather 2. And that's giving us access to this camera right now. But our specific scene that we have right now is not working. So we'll get that fixed once we're done with this live stream. So I got some questions about next Tuesday. Brendan, you're all over this right now on Tuesday. Do you think Tuesday will get a moderate risk? It's just too far out to determine that. I mean, who knows? I mean, we're 7 days out. The models have a lot of time to change. And the system is still offshore right now. And it's also going to be Baja Blast energy too. That's very important to remember. Baja Blast energy is very challenging to forecast, especially when it comes to timing and coverage of storms. Sometimes Baja Blast energy can produce too many storms, and that limits your severe weather threat. So Tuesday's impressive. Don't get me wrong. Tuesday, I'll be stunned if we didn't have severe weather in some form or fashion. But how significant will that be? That's still to be determined. So we'll watch it very closely for you, Brendan. Rest assured. It's a perfect cuddle with some coffee and read day if you're able. I'm going to be doing that with Harper later today, that's for sure. Harper and I have been super cuddly when it comes to rainy days. But what's the potential flood risk these days? Good question right there. Let's talk about that real quick. Let's look at the excessive rainfall forecast now. I'm just telling you right now, between you and me, coming a little bit closer because I don't want many other folks to hear this. I don't like the excessive rainfall forecast all that much from the Weather Prediction Center. I'm just saying, It's experimental, I think, still, but it's not my favorite product because it changes all the time, number one. Number two, sometimes it doesn't do a good job with updating when it needs to update compared to what's going on outside. So take it with a grain of salt. But let's look at it anyway. So this is the excessive rainfall forecast for day one. What's interesting is it has the bullseye of scatter flash flooding potential actually north of I-40. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think the higher threat's actually going to be along and south of Interstate 40, but we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. Maybe I'm wrong, but there is that level 2 out of 4 slight risk in place for portions of our area for today. Let's look at the day 3 outlook. This is for Friday. Friday is looking more and more like a severe weather setup rather than a flash flooding setup. Most of the time you don't have both, or at least one is limited by the other. So Friday's looking pretty significant for severe weather potential. I think it's very telling that a large portion of that enhanced risk is not under any excessive rainfall. That's because these are going to be isolated supercells that produce very significant severe weather. As these storms get farther east, they might become a line. We might be talking about QLCS potential, which leads to more of a heavy rain threat. So that's why you're seeing that level 1 to 4 marginal. I don't know if it will get much higher than that, though. So, yeah, the flooding potential is interesting because we're going to get so many lulls in the activity over the next several days that I think that might limit it a little bit. But still, quite a bit of rainfall expected. Let's look at the latest 7-day precipitation forecast from the Weather Prediction Center. That'll take a little while to populate, so let's give it a little bit of time. Wow, it's a lot of rain. That is a lot of rain over the next 7 days. I mean, it's rain that we need, no doubt about it, but it's spread out over 7 days. You're looking at about anywhere from 3 to 5 inches in most spots, and there's a bullseye of even higher totals there along the I-40 corridor. So we're definitely getting the rainfall, folks. There is no doubt about that. So behind the scenes, I'm going to be looking at iDrive Arkansas real quick, just making sure there's no other accidents to report. We've been talking about that one in Bella Vista. Looks like that's the only one that's going on right now. Denton, if you don't mind, obviously we'll have one of the panels be that Bella Vista interchange. Can you pull up 3 other cameras as well on the iDriver behind the scenes? And I'll pull that up on Max 1 in just a minute. So while you're doing that, I'm going to go back here to Max, and we're going to look at our satellite and radar image real quick here and look at how things are kind of evolving out west. Again, more storms are going to be forming within the next several minutes. So we're not done yet, right? We're not done yet with storms, but I think the severe weather potential is dropping off quite a bit, especially for far northwestern Arkansas. So that's great news. That is absolutely fantastic news, and we will take that all day long and twice on Sunday. Let's go back to high resolution water vapor here. And let's look at that dry punch, because that's where you're going to get a lot of explosive thunderstorm development. So that dry punch is leaking into northwest Arkansas right now. So that'll probably lead to some more thunderstorms. And there's some additional development that you're seeing right now there in the River Valley. This will probably form more storms too. But that front is racing to the east very quickly. So our severe weather threat could be dropping off even in the River Valley within the next few hours or so. So hopefully that trend continues. All right. I see that you got that pulled up there, Denton. Thank you so much for doing that. Really appreciate it. And let's pull up the 4-panel view. So top left corner of your screen, that's that accident that we were just talking about in Bella Vista. Again, that's in the southbound lane. That's been going on for the last hour plus. So that's a pretty significant accident, unfortunately, there. We've also got a camera that's near 8th Street in Bentonville. Very familiar with this particular stretch of the interstate as well. Looks like traffic getting backed up just a little bit there on the off-ramp. Then we've got another camera there near the US 612 interchange in Lowell. That's Interstate 49. A lot of traffic right now. And then Weddington Drive, where that construction's going on, you can see traffic is flowing in the northbound and southbound lanes. So if you're traveling right now, folks, just make sure you're taking it nice and easy on the roadways. Give yourself plenty of extra time. Go about 15 to 20 miles per hour below the speed limit, and you should be A-okay. And then, of course, you can see on the crawl there on the bottom of your screen, Denton did a good job with this. Talking a little bit about what's going on with our storms. The atmosphere becoming very stable right now in northwest Arkansas. While in the River Valley, there's still that threat for some severe weather potential. All right. I've gone through a lot of stuff. If there's anything else you guys want me to talk about, please let me know. We'll go through it. But I think we're about an hour in right now. As I just mentioned, there's not a whole lot of severe weather potential to talk about. You can see the severe storm score is sitting at a 2 out of 100. That is extremely low. That's about as low as you can go. The tornado score is non-existent. Oh, it just went up as soon as I said something. But again, it's very low. In general, the severe weather threat is very low at this time. So we're going to wrap this up in just a few moments. Give us a zoomed-in view of the radar on Mega Doppler, please. So we'll go back to that again here. So let's go back to Mega Doppler. We showed that just a few moments ago, and we'll go through it here again. So here's a look at southwestern Missouri near Pineville and Cassville. You can see some scattered thunderstorms once again redeveloping just off to the west of Pineville right now. That's moving along Highway 59 near Jay. All these storms moving off to the north and east, about 45 miles per hour, give or take. A lot of lightning associated with these storms, no doubt about it, but no severe weather right now. So that's fantastic. And I think that's going to continue for Northwest Arkansas, just looking at those temperature trends. So heavy rain, lightning going on in NWA. You can see in Bentonville, things are starting to wind down just a little bit more there. If we go a little bit farther to the south, you can see maybe a stronger storm starting to move just south of Highway 412 right now. That's going to be just to the west of Johnson. We zoom in a little bit more. So Weddington Woods, Wheeler, Steele, Johnson. It's about to get a little loud, a little bit more rainy in those spots. We'll see if that stronger storm hits Fayetteville as well. This storm's generally moving off to the north and east, so the southern part of that storm could hit Fayetteville. Some more storms going on there in Adair County near Westville, a little bit farther to the south towards Stillwell as well. Greasy, you're also going to experience some scattered showers and storms within the next few moments. Those storms moving off to the north and east as well. This one might impact a little bit more of western Washington County. Now, the River Valley is a little more interesting. I've been talking about this throughout the entire live stream. There's not as much shower and storm development in the River Valley. That cold front is still west of the Fort Smith area right now. So as long as that cold front remains out west, those storms could take off, though the more scattered development that we see, what I kind of call these crapvection showers, right? That's a little storm chasing term for you. The more of these that develop, the less likely your severe weather potential is going to be high end. And it wasn't even high end in the first place, folks, but this could limit the threat quite a bit in the River Valley. So hopefully that continues. What we really want to see is we want to see multiple rounds of storms today. Some of them may produce some heavy rainfall, but the more rain that we can get without flash flooding or severe weather potential, the better. So I think right now things are in good shape for a large part of Northwest Arkansas and even in the River Valley. And then let's go back to weather one again, because I want to show the temperatures one last time, just to give you an idea of why that severe weather risk is so low if you're just tuning in, at least for Northwest Arkansas. Right now, those temperatures sitting in the upper 40s to right around 50 degrees. So it's pretty much done in Northwest Arkansas. River Valley still in the lower to middle 70s right now, but that front is racing in very quickly. Look at Stigler sitting in the lower 50s. So that may eventually be the I-40 corridor within the next few hours. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. I was talking about this with Dan earlier. LaFleur, Scott, Logan County, it might take a little bit longer for those temperatures to drop off. So those spots may receive a little bit more severe weather potential. So that is something to watch very closely. I actually want to go back to Mega Doppler and prove that point real quick. Notice how in Scott and LaFleur County, there's not as much shower development going on right now. So those spots will need to be watched very closely, especially during the late morning and early afternoon hours. All right. That's pretty much all I wanted to go through there. We've gone through every single severe weather risk for this week and for next week. Before we wrap things up, I want to talk about Weather Call Next Gen one more time. I know a lot of folks can testify to this. Weather Call Next Gen is a great subscription service. Now, there was a little bit of confusion yesterday. Some folks were wondering if it was an app. This is a service that you subscribe to for only $1 a month, folks. You can't beat that. That is less than a large sweet tea with light ice at McDonald's for life-saving information. And this is important because I know a lot of folks have frustration when it comes to getting alerts. We always talk about having multiple ways to receive warnings, whether that be a weather radio, whether that be your phone, right? Getting alerts on there. But your phone doesn't do a great job, folks, because it doesn't give you those hyper alerts. Let's say you live in Bentonville or the east side of Benton County towards Garfield. Well, there could be a tornado warning that's going on in the Gravette area or in Decatur, but you're still getting several alerts for a storm that's not even on you yet. So Weather Call Next Gen kind of solves that problem. If you scan that QR code on your screen, if you go to weathercallservices.com/KNWA-NextGen, you're going to be able to find out more information about this service. Dan yesterday actually had a little giveaway, and we had a winner of that. So they got a free year of Weather Call Next Gen. But again, it's not even that expensive in the first place. Only $1 a day, folks, for hyper-local alerts. Another big thing with Weather Call Next Gen is that it gives you tornado confirmation calls. So let's say you just got your text about a tornado warning that's issued. It's a radar-indicated rotation. You're taking cover, you're hunkering down, and then if that tornado warning becomes observed, right, if there's an observed tornado on the ground, you'll get a phone call immediately letting you know about that. You'll also get phone calls about warning upgrades as well. So let's say you've got a considerable tornado warning, or if you've got a tornado emergency, you're going to get a phone call on that as well. You'll also get notifications for storms with hurricane force winds or golf ball size hail. So we're talking destructive, severe thunderstorm warnings. And then most importantly, for folks that maybe live out in rural areas, maybe you don't have great cell service, well, you also get calls to landline phones as well. You can also sign up that way. So a lot of great things with Weather Call Next Gen. I'm going to keep pushing that out over the next several days. I think it will be a great resource to have. Maybe not necessarily for today, right, for most spots, but for Friday and Tuesday, it might be the service that saves your life. So again, scan that QR code on your screen right now, or you can go to weathercallservices.com/knwa.nextgen. We're really pushing that this spring, and I think it's a fantastic service. And look at that. Stacy has had it for over a year now. Absolutely loves it. Thank you so much for that, Stacy. And again, it's a great service that so many folks are subscribing to here in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. All righty, guys. I think I've kind of exhausted pretty much everything that I needed to talk about. Dan, you were talking about the dramatic change in the 1630Z risk. I think we're going to see that as well. Once that risk comes out, I'll post a little update there. I don't even think I'm going to show you the day 2 outlook again. Before I even pull that up, I'm going to just put you full screen with my face because I don't want to look at that right now. It's not accurate, in my opinion, for Northwest Arkansas. Once we get an update to that, I'll post that on social media. But guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Wednesday again. Normal garden variety storms right now. If we do have significant severe weather within the next few hours or so, we'll be back here on the live stream. We'll have a full house today. Dan, Davion, and Leslie will be here watching the radar very closely. Your Weather Authority team will also be watching things very closely for Friday and Tuesday. Guys, have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. God bless you, and thank you so much for trusting your Weather Authority team.